this is Clara, but you can call me Mother, and welcome to the Studio Yutani Megacast. So for Alien Day, I decided to get the old crew together. Me and Drew are going to be talking about the RPG along with my good friend, Maitland, also known as Project Acheron on YouTube. Hi guys, how are you going?
Hey there, Mother.
Very good, Mother.
What's the situation?
You're all fucked. So yeah. What can we say except like it's probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me.
Really? You're working on the map and everything is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to you?
Okay. Close seconds to meeting Dane from Alien Covenant and hanging out with him at the pub. So until you can take me out for a pub meal.
Awesome.
I mean, getting your name in the beginning of any Alien material, would be the #1 achievement of all life goals.
Yeah, that's very true. So I'll start off with Maitland. How have you been since the lockdown? Can you give us a brief rundown of your life? How things have changed?
Well, I keep looking at each of my 4 walls, looking for any changes. There hasn't been any yet. No, pretty much just trying to stay inside, knuckling down on YouTube and trying to do my part to not spread any potentially dangerous pathogens around.
You were like the last person I saw before I was in quarantine.
I know. We saw each other in Sydney, and that weekend it was like the fear was starting to get real. And then it was like, as soon as we went home, it's like we pretty much haven't been out since then.
Yeah, I remember messaging you and saying, I'm really sorry if I gave you COVID-19, but could you make sure that you go to a doctor just in case you have any symptoms?
Yeah. Well, I was stressed out for a little bit, but it turns out we were all right.
Oh, that's good. Thank goodness. How have you been, Drew?
Good. I mean, I think it's funny because I see all these people saying how bored they are, being trapped at home, nothing to do, and my work is quadrupled. So it's like I've been contacted by a lot of companies to do work, freelance work, because now's the time to do it since we can't put it out yet. You know, all the distributors are closed down and everything right now here in America.
That's really great, though. Like, yeah. Getting work still.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm just like, I wish I had time to be bored. You know.
Yeah, for sure. So I thought today we would get together and talk about the RPG, but not in the way that we would talk about the role-playing games. I wanted to make the main focus the core book, the work that Drew did and the work that I did on the maps. So yeah, basically, geez. Well, when did you start working on the RPG, Drew? Well, how did it come to you?
I signed contracts to work on this in June of 2018, I think. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I worked on the core book for a year. Wow. A little less than a year, because then I finished the core book and they were like, now map, and you know where that started. I've been a freelance franchise consultant for Fox for many years. I worked on Planet of the Apes stuff for them, and I wrote the internal Bible for Predator. And I did that in early 2018. And then that led right into doing the Alien game. So.
Wow. I've got one question though.
Yeah.
With that movie, The Predator, and you know how we see Lex's spear from AVP, does that confirm that the Predator universe and AVP universe are connected?
No. That is an Easter egg. That's all it is. Easter egg, people.
I've seen
there are 3 different universes
in the community.
There are 3 different universes. There is the Alien/Prometheus universe. There is the Predator universe. And then there's the AVP universe. And the
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
It's good to know.
Yes.
I'm
So
glad
anytime
someone who's working for them said it.
So anytime you see anything thrown in there, it's an Easter egg, and people think that that just means all this other stuff, but it's just a nod. That's all it is.
Is that the same with the engineers in Blade Runner?
There are no engineers in Blade Runner.
I know. I'm just purposely trying to get under your skin. That's all.
I see a button here that says "Leave meeting." I could do that.
I'm just kidding. Just for people out there, the engineers are not in Blade Runner, but Carlos Fuente, who did the concept art for both the replicants and the engineers, worked on both projects and is a friend of Ridley Scott's. So, you know, there's bound to be similarities.
Of course, you know, and you know, there's been Easter egg links to Blade Runner and Alien forever, but honestly, there's no way they could ever be the same universe, as cool as that is, just because they're owned by different companies. That it just won't work. Which I don't know if they're going to, but they're going to buy everyone, right? Then maybe, but yeah.
And then Walmart's going to buy Disney.
Yes.
And then we'll come full circle.
Yeah.
Didn't Walmart buy out Weyland Yutani or something in Alien Resurrection? And that happened?
Yeah, that's
that was a mention in Alien Resurrection. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Whether they were saying it in jest, I'm not sure.
No, I think it was the whole idea that Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Joss Whedon, thank you. I've got a different nickname for him in my head, and I didn't want to say it on the podcast. Anyway, he had the idea that it would be mainly big companies and conglomerates that end up owning everything in the future, because they're the ones that can pretty much make money non-stop. Everyone's always going to need food, so it makes sense that Walmart would end up being a mega corporation of some sort.
Yep.
Or just like Taco Bell in Demolition Man.
So, with the story of the Chrono, like the USCSS Kronos, and that, what actually inspired that line of story?
Inspired the Cronus?
Well, just the whole story that went behind that. So, like the exploratory, like exploring the engineers a little bit more through that, and like the variant of the strain and stuff like that.
What I think is funny is that I've been accused of making anti-vaxxer statements with what happens in Chariot. Yeah, because the cure is worse than the disease.
Well, that's an interesting angle.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I guess I okay. I mean, they basically, you know, they told me I wasn't supposed to write the adventure. There was someone else who was writing it. I don't know who it was, and I don't know what happened, but they stepped out or whatever, and they asked me if I wanted to take a crack at it. And I was like, yeah, hell yes. So they already knew that they wanted to have the ship, and it was called the Cronus. And the basic outline of it felt exactly like Alien to me, and it was just too much like Alien. So I tried to put some of the prequel stuff into it and modify it around, you know, have the tropes in there, but have them not exactly as you would have expected them. And that's what came about from that. I mean, I love the engineers. I love the idea that there's not just the 9-foot ones that we've seen, but the 20-foot one actually is 20 feet tall, and that's something else. You know, there's all these things you could explore, but you can't really say anything because only Ridley Scott can make those claims.
Yeah, I suppose until the prequels are all wrapped up.
But what's great about them is that they're a mystery, and you can use them as a mystery in the story, and your players can be ripping their hair out, and you don't never tell them anything because really you don't know either. So they're a really great topic, I think, and I went in the core book. I pulled from a bunch of previous stuff that's been mentioned about them and made things rumors and whatnot and various things that they were called. I've tried to do that with a lot of the lore in the book because I know there's a fan who loves this comic series but hates that movie, and you know this novel but hates that. So if you mention a little bit of everything, you're building this rich universe, and at the same time, like, as someone who gets that book and say, all right, well, I can pretend Alien 3 didn't happen because they made a hidden remark about Gibson's Alien 3 in there over here.
Yeah, the wooden planet. Yeah. That was one of the main things that I enjoyed about reading the RPG, is that so many different, even thrown away elements like William Gibson's Alien 3 could then be integrated into canon in some way without having to redo Alien 3, without having to upset a whole bunch of people. It can still be there. Yeah,
I mean, it's a rich universe between the scripts that were made and the comics that have come up for the past 30 years, all this stuff. There's a lot there, and a lot of it is just like, that really can't be canon. But the concepts in that could be canon. So, I tried to drag what makes sense as canon into it. And my philosophy on it is, let's pretend Charon base is one of the things that's in there from the comics, okay? Now, the comic story that take place at that base, you need to look at it as that's a story that someone told in a bar that he heard from another guy about whatever actually probably did happen.
See, but that's all. I love that the idea that these old, I guess, with like Star Wars, they have like the canon section and the legend section, and I like that now in the Alien canon we have these stories, which is essentially the Alien legends or the non-canon stuff now. That could be, just these stories that have been passed around throughout the universe. It's a big galaxy for all these stories to have Chinese whispers and be diluted and things to be exaggerated or to be not fully understood.
I wanted to ask, Drew, is like, when's the next release scheduled for? Can you give us any information on that yet?
I mean, tomorrow's Alien Day. I'm sure someone will say something.
Ooh.
Oh, you're rascal.
Do you want me to get fired the day before Alien Day?
Maybe. I'm just kidding. No, it's cool.
I was not authorized to give
it. Depends how much law you spill.
Hey, it's all right. So, for people who are watching this now, this is at about late afternoon in Australia that we're telecasting this, and it would be a good idea to keep an eye on the Free League socials for Alien Day, which will be tomorrow for you guys, because you guys will be celebrating it on the 26th in America, which will be the 27th for me. So yeah, there you go. Keep an eye out. Well, what's really great as well, I wanted to have a big thank you to Thomas, who has donated the Alien RPG bundle. I asked him just, would you like to donate something for our Alien Day giveaway? And he said okay to the RPG bundle. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be cool. But you won't be able to get the physical game yet because the factory is closed. But you'll be able to get the PDF straight away. And then you'll be able to get the game pack shipped out to you once things are relatively gone back to normal.
One day.
Yeah, one day. Drew, what was the most difficult part of writing the RPG for you? Was there any particular part that was challenging?
The most difficult part was maintaining the word count.
Not researching any of like canon or anything like that, or did you already have a fair grasp on everything?
I mean, I've read almost everything, and the few things that I hadn't read, I was, able to ask experts like you about.
Oh, thank you.
So it wasn't hard to find anything, and honestly, I don't know. I guess my mind works this way where it fills in the blanks anyway. It's like a lot of people who complained about Rise of Skywalker say, well, how is this? How is this? How is this? And I was like, well, didn't it just make sense? Because I filled in the blanks myself. And then when Disney's releasing stuff later explaining it, it's exactly what I filled in my head. So, I'm looking for connections in places everywhere when they're not. And so it was easy for me to bring that together. The most difficult thing, and this is a segue, was definitely doing the map.
It's all my fault, isn't it?
No, I never would have gotten it done without you. You were incredibly amazing in your help. So, no, when I came to Clara asking for help with the map, my idea was every time you have a map, space is obviously 3D. So you've got planet up here, Earth is here, and you've got a planet over here. But if I were to squish this down to 2D, this planet that's 40 light years away would wind up sitting right next to Earth on the map. Okay? And I see this on a lot of 2D representations of maps all the time. And as far as gaming purposes, you're going to have players saying, oh no, LV426 is only half a day journey from Earth, not 3 weeks or whatever. And because of that, I came to Clara and I said, okay, I want to find a way to get a program or something where we can put in the proper coordinates of the planet, the star, but when it drops it down, instead of squishing it down, if it's 40 light years away, it would drop it 40 light years in the right portion of the sky. So the reason why all this was an issue in the first place is because the stars and the aliens, most of them are real. There's not a lot of made-up stars, and even the ones that are made up to sound like they're real, with the proper designations like G223 and stuff like that. But so this program that Clara came up with would do amazing things, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, why is this star suddenly in the southern right quadrant when it never was before? And I don't know, you can tell us what happened with that because you had to figure it out, Clara.
Yeah, I was using 2 different software programs and using them to talk to each other. And because the data sets that we were looking at, there was just like so many lines of it. If I didn't change the amount of information that it was reading every time it was rendering, it would just kind of just put stuff anywhere, it felt like. And I was like, why is this not working? And I couldn't figure it out for ages. And it was driving me nuts. It was driving Drew nuts. But eventually we got it to work and got it to stick mostly. I'm hoping in future that, there won't be any problems.
Yeah, that occurred to me. There's one project that we're working on which may expand the map. So.
Oh, great. Yeah. But I think the funnest part for me was actually getting in touch with a lot of people who worked in the alien universe and talking to them about extra details that we could include in the map. Like, I got in touch with Scott Sigler and we saw about putting an Easter egg in a future RPG release. We spoke to Alex White and made sure that Kaufman was in the map. Me and Drew figured out where Orogai 6 is. So we know where things are taking place. And I really appreciated that Drew also put in a lot of the concepts, constellations that were included in Ron Cobb's sketches of the crew patches. Like at that point, I had completely gotten fed up and I didn't want to look at the map anymore. And I said, could you just find a constellation to include these in there, please? And Drew went and found it. So yeah, that was good.
So with the location of Orogai 6, like a lot of fans thought, it's definitely not LV46, is it?
It doesn't make sense with what is seen on screen in the movie on their computer screens and everything.
Yeah.
Just sense of the LV46. No.
Locations and distance-wise and stuff like that.
Even the system makeup, right, Clara? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's completely different. There is no like Planet 4 is an actual planet, whereas LV426 is a moon, LV223 is a moon, is not another habitable planet. Otherwise, Weyland Yutani would have founded it years ago and mind the shit out of it. Yeah.
I mean,
Strip
also,
mined it.
you're saying the fans are thinking that they were on their way to Orgrimmar 6 and stopped at LV 426, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I've just heard people say that. I didn't really think that would really fit myself, but obviously it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I find it interesting that that there's a lot of things like that people think that something's being snuck in there to as a hint, but a lot of times it's just not.
Because I think in some interview that Ridley Scott did, he called Orgrimmar 6 the planet or the world or whatever, and everyone took it as, oh, they're returning to the original world or whatever.
Right.
But
right.
it just, I don't know. I don't even really, even if it could work, I don't really like the idea of it being the same world, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it would just make it a bit harder to reconcile a lot of flaws in the structure of the story and the script if that was the case.
Yeah. So coming back to the core rulebook and the stories told in it, what inspired the setting of 2183?
Basically, I wanted it to be not that long after Aliens and Alien 3, because that just seems to be like the richest time period. And at the same time, I didn't want to put it right after Alien 3 because I wanted there to be some repercussions from things that have happened.
Yep.
In Aliens. So that's why there's, everyone, the United States, the United Americas thinks that the UPP wiped out their colony because Weyland Yutani is telling them that's what happened, and so it's like there's this conflict that's all spilling out of what happened then. And I just like the idea of, corporate cover-up of things might accidentally cause a war. So I just figured it was a good place to put it. If we got as far out as Resurrection, it's like that version of the world is not as fleshed out. So it just seemed like it was smarter to play in the time period that was closer to Aliens.
So further expansions of the RPG, will they be continuing from this timeline?
Yes.
They will. So it'll be like, just for example, expansion 1, expansion 2, whatever, will be a year or maybe 2 years after the current events.
Yes, I don't think it's actually in the next, the second adventure that I finished working on. That's going to be coming out this year. They announced that that's coming out this year. It's called Destroyer of Worlds.
Yep.
I don't think it's mentioned in it, but when I wrote it as if it was 2185.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if the date itself is actually in it, because we did so many edits. So the date might not be there, but that was in my mind, everything I set up around it was because it was 2 years after the start of the game.
Nice.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Finally, I learned something before you.
I know, it's rare.
Very rare.
Is there anything that you wish you could do differently that's happened in the RPG or the core book? I know for me, I would definitely make sure that the spelling was correct.
Yeah, I just found out that
on the map.
There's others that I don't think we knew about, but what do you call it? But but that wasn't us. That's something that got lost somewhere, and it's called publishing. It happens everywhere. The book is beautiful. It's a great product. The content is great. The gameplay is great. And if there's a few typos, is that really?
It doesn't really stop me from playing the game. I've played 2 games with AVP Galaxy now. I've done the Chariot of the Gods. We've done a homemade adventure, and I've also played Hope's Last Day. So as a newcomer to RPGing, it's been pretty good. And I've actually started to consider training to become a GM.
You want to be a game mother?
Yeah.
You're halfway there already.
That's it. I've been watching a lot of gameplay, and I realized a lot of the mistakes that I was making when playing the game. I wasn't really being descriptive about my character or giving my character some character. I was just reading straight off the page, and I didn't want to venture out or do anything fun because I didn't know what I was doing. But now that I've watched a few other games of more seasoned players, I think I know how to do this. I think I can embody the character.
I mean, it can be a hell of a lot of fun. You know, you get to be in the movie. You know, that's the best way to look at it. So.
Yeah, I'll have to arrange a game night with Maitland here to make sure
have not played it yet, so that will be interesting.
Yeah.
I know all the lore. I can tell you all the lore.
Well, you could probably end up becoming a very good game mother then, because that's part of it.
Definitely be interested in playing. I definitely don't ever want to GM though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. This is people ask me this a lot, and I'm like, I have spent all this time putting this together. I want to enjoy it as if I'm swept up in it when I'm having fun, rather than being in control of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sure.
That's fair enough.
Because I mean, none of this has diminished my love of Alien. If anything, it's made it bigger. But I want to escape into Alien when I'm in my free time. If that makes sense.
So you'd never play a game of Chariot?
I would play a game of Chariot. It's a little weird because I wrote it. If you wanted a game master, I'd love to play.
All right, I'll have to practice.
Same.
Otherwise, I'm going to sound like a robot on the first one.
Just do MUTHUR9000 impression.
Oh yeah. Easy. It's be second nature. So going away from the RPG, let's talk a little bit about Alien Day. Maitland, what was your first Alien Day like?
The first one that I properly celebrated was last year, because the year before I was a fan, but I wasn't really in the community per se. I was sort of very new. So the first one I properly celebrated was last year, which was the big 40th anniversary. And I come and spend quite a bit of time with you.
I'm honoured.
Yeah. Oh, it was so exciting though, because so much stuff was happening. Got to not officially meet Tristan Jones because he was quite busy, but I got to be in the same room as him, and we watched the 4K version of Aliens at that really old style theater, and then we watched, I think it was the 70mm version of Aliens, and being able to watch it in cinemas with like people reacting to all like the little jokes, and like when Ripley comes out with the power loader and stuff, being able to be in an audience with like, that was the first, and that was my most exciting Alien Day, I think. I don't know whether anything could be able to top that.
What was the theater that you saw it in?
What's it called, Clara?
The Astor Theatre. Sorry.
Oh, Astor
It's cutting
Theatre,
out.
that's it.
Yeah.
So is it like an old-fashioned theater, or is it modern? It's old-fashioned. Okay, cool. Yeah,
old-fashioned. Yeah.
That's gotta be great.
Yeah, it was pretty epic.
Yeah, I recorded all the interviews where they went up and were talking about it beforehand. Tristan's little speech he did and all that.
So were there a lot of people in the audience that hadn't seen it yet?
It was hard to tell.
Yeah, they did get people to show a raise of hands, and there's probably about 12 people, maybe 20, that hadn't seen it before. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. What was your first Alien Day like, Drew?
The first Alien Day that I actually did something to celebrate it was 2017. tickets to see Alien in the theater, and it included the entire backburster scene plus all the internet content for Covenant.
Wow.
So the movie played, and then they played all that. And I mean, it was the best scene, honestly. Just seeing that scene out of context of anything else, them dragging him back to the shuttle and everything that happens, I was like, wow, this is terrifying again. This is great, So, yeah, I still have the tickets. They were like printed with the skull-faced alien from the Covenant concept art,
Oh yeah.
So that was, other than that, I mean, previously I had got on Alien Day the year before that or the year before that, I'm not sure, they did the Ripley figure that was colored like the old Kenner figures. So, I bought that on Alien Day, but it's like, that's not,
Oh, that's cool.
And what about you, Mother? What was your favorite Alien Day?
My first Alien Day was just the year before, so 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't aware of the fan community before that, so I kind of like just was a fan of Alien, but not really on a specific day. And I was invited to I think co-host Perfect Organism podcast's Alien Day celebrations. And I also did a range of interviews. I interviewed Dane Hallett and Matt Hatton, and that was my first major thing for my blog. And I ended up gathering a whole bunch of greetings. I got people like, what's the name? This is so bad that I've forgotten his name. The guy who... Ben Rigby. Yeah, Ben Rigby, who played Ledward in Alien Covenant. I got to interview.
Okay. Yeah.
I interviewed him for AVP Galaxy, but then I got him to do a greeting for my podcast, and I also got to speak to like a whole bunch of people who I'd never really spoken to before. Like Lorelei King did a greeting for me, and it was probably the most epic thing that I put together. And that made a whole bunch of people start following my podcast. So that was like really exciting for me. I was on AVP Galaxy, I was on Perfect Organism podcast, and I was also on Studio Yutani. And that was like the 1 year that I completely went all out, contributing to everyone's Alien Day. Oh, hold on one moment. I've got to be a mother. Lego? Oh, I have no idea. Is that what to do? I don't know. There we go. Bye.
See you later, buddy.
So 2018 is when I just assumed. I mean, when I reached out to you, it was because I told several people, "Hey, I'm looking for help with this alien map because I want to do this the right way." And everybody said, "Oh, you need to talk to Clara. You need to talk to Clara." And so I just assumed you were in this community for like decades.
I'd only been in it for about a year, but I was a massive fan before being involved in the community. So everything that you see now, I just had only built up over a year.
Wow. Okay, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. I had no idea. I just assumed you were like, the ancient wizard at the top of the mountain that everybody. That's
no.
People who didn't know each other were all telling me, "Oh, you want to find this Clara Fei Fei?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I set off into the blizzard to try and find you.
Yeah. I don't know how I ended up becoming so prolific over 1 year, but I think I ended up in a lot of fandom arguments about canon, and I think
That's a good way to start it.
Yeah. and then I kept on referring people to my blog for information.
You make a lot of friends that way, I've found.
Made so many enemies. It's so funny. I'm just really glad that this is the first year I've not gotten any death threats. So,
Well, that's good.
That's a bonus.
yeah, definitely. I've only been around for a tiny while. Before that, I would obsess about Alien to my friends, and they would be like, Clara, shut up. We love you, but shut up. Like, we don't care. We don't care what the goo does, or when Prometheus takes place, or how it links into Alien Covenant, or how it links into like the greater lore of all of the universe. And frankly, I don't give a damn. I'm like, okay. So that's why I started my blog. And now everyone has to listen to me.
Well, now people give a damn.
Yeah, exactly. But
I always find that. Oh, you first. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say it's been a crazy ride. I did not expect, like, if you told me that this would be my life 2.5 years ago, I would laugh in your face. You go.
I always find these canon arguments interesting. It's like I was talking to some guy, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, he was telling me that Marines, the military wouldn't be called in for pest control, so that's not what a bug hunt is, and da, da, da. And I'm like, okay, I'm just telling you what it is because of what it's been said it was, and what Cameron's intention was based on what we know. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying that's what it is. And the guy started fighting with me, and I'm like, can you please just look at my profile? Because I really don't want to, I don't want to be the guy who pulls out that card, I'm just like, please look at my profile. I don't argue with you anymore. Just look at my profile. It's frustrating because it's like...
I remember that.
Yeah, you saw that one? Yeah.
I see everything.
Well, from now on, just tell him to read the Aliens, Defiance, and Rescue comics. It's in there. The Marines fight the bugs on Mars.
Yep.
Yeah, and in Prototype, they've got robots of them, so actual bugs for the bug hunts.
I haven't read Prototype yet. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I read it.
I know little bits about Prototype. I haven't read it yet.
It's interesting. That's for sure. Like
I heard there's a necromorph.
Yes, it's yeah. They should put a face mask on the alien so it doesn't spread the virus.
It just pushes the tongue through the face mask.
Spoiler alert, it coughs on people.
Wow, that's surprisingly relevant to this current day.
Yep, hold on a sec. Again? Yes, sweetie. What is it? He's playing Lego on the iPad. So is it here? Is it there?
No.
No? This one. But there we go.
Is it Lego Aliens?
No. It's just Lego, but oh my god, they should totally release a Lego Aliens. I would play the shit out of that. I was speaking to Alien Theory, and he doesn't like scary games. He can't play Alien Isolation. But he said he said if there was a Lego version of Alien, he'd totally play it, and I'm right there with him. If they release a Lego game version of all of the Alien movies, I'd play that all day. I would let my kids play that.
six film Alien saga. Just do it all in the Legos.
Oh yeah, that'd be epic.
Yeah, they just did it for the Star Wars.
Yeah,
Disney.
Could you imagine the pathogen drop and then all of the Lego engineers just coming apart?
Just dropping into a little yellow pool.
Yeah.
I don't see Disney doing that. Sorry.
Damn.
Damn it.
I see that more on Adult Swim than I see that
on... talking about canon arguments and theories, what's the weirdest canon theory that you've heard, Drew?
Oh boy. I don't. See, I have to try and push these things out of my head because I get upset about them. I have no answer for you, but what I can give you is an answer that deals with another argument I had with somebody.
You argue with people a lot, don't you?
Well, yeah, of course I do. You know that.
People who are watching and listening don't, so...
I defend Alien. I defend all the aliens except for one of them, but I'm not going to get into that because you'll get upset.
Okay. So what was this other...
Resurrection. Clara loves Alien Resurrection.
I do. The newborn is adorable. It's a cute little baby.
Okay.
Drew's not a big fan of Alien Resurrection?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay.
I feel that the tone is inappropriate for the material.
Fair enough.
That's what it comes down to. And in fact, because of that movie, I have hated Josh Whedon my entire life. I mean, that's not true. I don't hate him. I like his Avengers movies very much, but I could never get into Firefly. I never got into Buffy. You know, I didn't get into his X-Men comics, but I really loved his Avengers movies. So.
And is it mostly just that you don't feel it fits in with the rest of the universe?
With Alien Resurrection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it tries to be funny.
Yeah.
Like in inappropriate ways is the way I feel about it. You know.
It's 90s inappropriate funny though.
Yes, 100%. But it's like, but think about that for a second. And I understand you love it, and I'm not trying to make you not love it. But if you take a step back, isn't Alien itself kind of timeless?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, in the time period that it was made.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Resurrection feels like it was made in the 90s when you're watching it.
That is true.
That's I guess that's my problem with it, because I can watch all the others and I feel like they're timeless. So, that being said, I watched the extended edition a few times when I was working on the game, and I think whatever it is that they did that feels wrong makes people hate it more than the movie deserves. Because when I'm watching, I was like, well, this isn't so bad. Why do I remember this being so bad? And then after I'm done, I'm like, I hate that damn movie. So it's a weird thing. It's a really weird thing. And it's like the director, you know, he only did it because Sigourney wanted it so bad that Fox kept on making him offers he couldn't refuse, you know. And I just felt like when you have a situation like that, you're not going to get the best product you possibly can.
We're not friends anymore, Drew.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. I didn't want to go here. I'm sorry.
You want to fight? I'll fight you.
Now I'm going to find out that you gave me all the wrong coordinates for the planets on the map.
Shh. Okay, so what was this other argument?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well,
we segued a little.
We've got to put old man Drew back on track.
Okay. And if you want to edit out all that, I understand, because I don't want to, you know.
No, I totally think we should keep it.
Oh, no. The feud's gold. We can't get rid of that.
All right. It was about Predator, I think. I think he was talking about putting Predator in, and I said, well, the licenses for this game is for the Alien universe, not for the Alien Predator universe.
Wait, sorry, to put Predator in the role-playing game?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people
okay.
I've seen a lot of people like, I did stats for Predators. It's like, and I'm like, go for it. Have fun. That's great. It's your game. Do what you want. But the game will not, as it is now, it is not an AVP game. It was never intended to be an AVP game. It's intended to be an Alien game. So it exists in that Alien universe. For all we know, we're going to find out that David created the aliens completely. But that doesn't fit with AVP because they were in the pyramids in Central America. So clearly, those aliens are not the same aliens as the different universe, you know. But regardless, I was explaining to him, do what you want in your campaign. I am just giving you the facts of what it is. I am just telling you that it was that alien universe. You bought the book, now do what you want with it. And he got so mad at me. And he's telling me, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put Pokemon in. I'm like, go for it. Why do you think that upsets me? Do you remember this one, Claire? Did you read this one or no?
Yeah. How can I? It's just so hard to say. Okay, without sounding like a complete and utter bitch, but there's a lot of times where people kind of take us giving them information as an attack, and in no way it's ever an attack. I'm just trying to give them tools, and it's up to them whether they want to accept that into their head canon or not, or their canon.
Right.
Because I'm not by any means anyone official who's working on the universe, but Drew is.
No, not really. Okay, that's the thing. And I try. Yes, I'm working on an official licensed product. Yes, I am a franchise consultant for Fox. So yes, but the thing is, at the end of the day, that book that I turned in, I said this to people when on the day we released it. That book that I turned in is 100% canon until Ridley Scott decides it's not.
Yeah.
I don't have any control over anything.
Yeah. So it's
people are like, who are you to come in and do this? I'm like, I'm the guy they hired to make sense out of what was there already. And when they tell me that aliens are now going to look like Smurfs, I have to shrug my shoulders and find a way to make that make sense. For an ancillary book, which has nothing to do with the movie really, but make it make sense for the fans. You know, that's how it works.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do. I try to give people information, and at the end of the day, if they take that as an attack, that's on them. It's not on me. Like I spend hours, days, weeks, months obsessing about this stuff. My perception of an event or a character or a plot device or something might be completely different for someone else, and I think that's what makes fandom fun. It's actually having debates and bringing your proof to the table and going like, look, I looked into this and this is what I believe. Like paraphrasing Shaw.
Right.
You choose what you want to believe. It doesn't take away how much passion you have for the films or anything. If you want to make Blade Runner in the same universe, go ahead. But on my blog, I've gone through all of the timeline for Blade Runner, all of the timeline for Alien, using information from Scott Middlebrook's webpage, who is a timeline consultant for Fox, and it doesn't match up. Just Blade Runner and Alien are just not able to be in the same universe. It just can't happen. But if people want to make it in the same universe, go ahead. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect anyone else. Anyone else who works on the IP, they have to reference what they're allowed to reference. And yeah.
Here's where the question comes though, okay? Is there anything in the actual films that concretely makes it so that's impossible? Or is it all ancillary material that makes it impossible?
It does make it impossible because in Blade Runner, they end up being off-world before they even have the ability to travel at light speed or faster than light in the Alien universe. So like to be available to see the C-beams off the Tannhauser Gate and be able to be around the shoulder of Orion or any of these pinpoint things, taking into account the ship speeds in the Alien universe from the films and the sorts of ship speeds that you'd have to have in the Blade Runner universe, and when FTL is actually invented, it doesn't mesh. It just doesn't. It's all there. It's in the films. So,
but in my head while we're talking, I just created 15 ways to work around that.
Oh yeah, there could be jump gates. They could have different sorts of fuel, you know. But like that's the thing. The technology, I think, is a major factor because one says FTL is invented in this time period, and in another one it says FTL is invented now.
Well, and here's the thing though: if it's a gate, it's not FTL.
Yeah, well, that too.
So it wouldn't change the fact. And again, I'm being devil's advocate here because I can
tell. I feel like punching you right now.
I'm just saying, and it's things like this that lead to people being able to say, "Oh, well, I've decided this," and it's frustrating, but like I tried to take that into account, and you know this, in a lot of things in the Alien book. I remember one thing that we were arguing over, you and I, to do with the neomorph.
Sorry, to do with the what?
The neomorph.
Neomorph. With whether it has acid blood or whether it
Nope. About targeting females because of genetics.
That is so BS.
So what was that
no
argument?
basis in that whatsoever.
Okay, so if you watch the movie,
don't listen to him, people. He's spouting lies.
If you watch the movie, the neomorphs target the women, and it could be intentional, or it could just be, that's what just happened. But
and what would be the explanation behind that?
Because the neomorphs are they're a product of the black goo, which is supposed to end all life on a planet.
So eradicating the
ones that can reproduce.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a theory that I thought was interesting. And so I think it's included in the book. It may have gotten moved out, but if it was included, it was supposed to be included as some scientists theorize that. We have a lot of that going on in the book.
Yeah.
To cover, hey, this theory and that theory. And
it's like how you've got the debate between the two scientists that are arguing whether they implant a embryo or whether it is like a accelerant package that gets implanted.
Do you, there's not notes. There's clues in there on who those two scientists are.
Yeah. And they're not from the Cold Forge.
One of them is.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah, I got permission. I got permission from Alex to do that. That's awesome. I said, hey, man, I want to do this, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's great, do it." So I was like, "All right." So yeah, but yeah, but that's the thing. And I actually like Alien better that way personally, and I think you might too, Clara.
Yeah. I love fighting with people.
Well, no, I'm not talking about that. I love it better. It's a mystery. I would rather we never find out if David made it or not. I don't want them to definitively say he did, and I don't want them to definitively say he didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Either in Foster's novel, he's trying to duplicate something that the engineers have done in the past. Okay. So because Foster didn't like the idea of of David being the creator of the alien, so he put that in.
But the proof is in Prometheus anyway. The Deacon.
There's a whole mural with a creature on it.
Yeah.
But is that creature the alien?
Well, it's a xenomorphic type creature.
Right.
Whether it's the classic one we see in the original films, we're not certain. But there was some type of xenomorphic creature the engineers had.
Yes. In my heart, it has always been that ship has been sitting there for thousands of years with those eggs.
Oh, yeah, same.
And it's if that's the direction that it's going to wind up going in, it's the direction it's going to wind up going in. When Prometheus itself came out, I was of two minds of it, because I really loved the idea of turning what we thought the engineers were on its head. It's like, no, that was a suit. It's like that blew my mind. That's great, because we never would have thought that. I don't think anybody sat there and thought that was a spacesuit, But at the same time, I was like, damn, I really like those elephant guys.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off, and it's not up to us. It's up to Ridley Scott and whoever he brings in to write it to figure this stuff out, and we're along for the ride, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, so true. I've just been involved in another argument on another Facebook group about how Covenant connects to Alien, and I'm like, we don't know yet. We just don't know. There's
not enough material there to directly say a lot.
And who knows, like maybe Ridley Scott might change direction again. You just never know.
Well, that's the
Three very distinct prequel films.
That's the thing. Covenant is totally not the way it was originally planned, you know. And then
From the Paradise Lost days.
yeah. I mean, Shaw was supposed to be a main character. Even there's even versions of Covenant that where Shaw was alive and hiding on Planet 4 from David, you know. So these things go through major changes. So we could find out that David stuff was a bait and switch, you know. I really hope we see Walter again.
Oh yeah, I'm killing to see Walter again. That has to be relevant in the final. Oh well, the next prequel film.
Yeah, I've had my own theories about how that could happen, but yeah, I don't think this is the right place to share it because it will take too long.
No.
More
I have lots
arguments.
of theories too, but I don't think I should share them
No.
because people will be like, Fox executive. Yeah, I love it. You know, I'm not executive. I'm a freelance. It says, and I'm like, oh my god, my career's
But in all honesty, people are allowed to have whatever opinions they have as long as they are respectful to others. Nothing's worse than, like I said, getting death threats, getting insults, and things like that, name calling over what largely is just a fictional universe. Even though I absolutely love it, I live it. So do you. So do you, Maitland. You know.
Big time.
Yeah, it's not something to lose your shit over.
Not exactly.
My latest toxic fan fight was in a Star Trek group where this guy who doesn't like Discovery was telling this guy who liked Discovery that he's not a real Star Trek fan because a true fan would like Discovery. And I'm like,
it makes me shudder every time someone says that, even in a positive way, when they say true fan. It's just doesn't...
if the only Star Wars movie you like is The Phantom Menace, you're still a Star Wars fan. I mean, you're not a Star Wars fan I want to hang out with. But you're still a Star Wars fan.
People are not going to like me because I like the original trilogy, but I also really love Solo and I really love Rogue One, but I don't like any of the others.
See, I like Solo, Rogue One, and the others. What about you, Malin?
I pretty much like every single one, but I have my problems with The Last Jedi.
Okay.
I am a pretty big fan of Star Wars. Rogue One, fantastic. Solo, pretty darn good. It feels like classic original trilogy. Mm-hmm. And then episode 8, I don't really like that much. And episode 9, pretty good.
The funny thing is that all these people are saying, oh, JJ totally, backtracked on what was done in 8 and everything. And it's like, the funny thing is that like all the revelations that Luke decided he was wrong and everything like that, that's where I thought it was going to go anyway. I saw it in there. It's like Yoda tells him, dude, you're wrong in Last Jedi.
Yeah, when they're having the little chat while the tree's burning down.
Yeah, but everybody's like, no, Luke was a jerk, and that's not my Luke. And it's like, okay, have you seen the Jedi? Do you see what they do when they lose a fight? Because Obi-Wan and Yoda went and hid for 20 years when they lost the fight.
Became hermits, yeah.
It seems like that's the Jedi thing. Oh, shit, I lost a fight. I'm going to go hide for 20 years. But I know we got off the rails, but, it's okay to like what part of it you like and not like what you don't. Take whatever gives you enjoyment and just forget about the rest. Don't get angry about the rest.
Yeah.
Life's too short to be getting angry about a few little things.
Yeah, for sure. Let's wrap this up because the kids want the TV back and want to watch Minecraft tutorials. So.
Oh yeah, actually, I've got a few of those to watch myself.
Oh really? So, thanks again, Drew, for joining us. Very last minute, impromptu.
Well, I always love talking with you. You know that. So.
Oh, thanks. And thank you, Maitland, for making time for talking about the RPG today. I know it was very last minute, but I really appreciate it.
Oh, as always a pleasure. And very nice meeting you, Drew.
All right. Do you want me to do it then?
This is Andrew Gaska, last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off.
Perfect. And this is Mother, last survivor of this Megacast, signing off.
Share or support Studio Yutani on Patreon and subscribe to yutani.studio to stay up to date. Transmission complete.